Hi, I'm Dr. Khan. Hope you guys are all doing well, and this reaches you on all levels of positivity. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you about old wounds, the constant state of anxiety, the constant state of reactivity, same patterns, our life being stagnant, and how the brain plays a role in that. So, have you ever wondered why you're always inviting negativity in your life, or why you may have bulimia or some type of dysfunction in your life, be it substance abuse, be it just being engaged in gossip, and or just not being able to relax, simply relax and be and appreciate life. So why does this happen, and how is the brain involved? Okay, and what the solutions are, possible solutions. Okay, so as I've mentioned, there we've been programmed at a very, very young age to be codependent by society, by culture, and by our upbringing. And basically, our parents were living out their programming, mother living out the programming that society set for her, and culture and family. The father was out there living out his programming, be it a standard of attaining some type of income, some high income, or whatever it may be. Then you have the children in the background who are watching this and never being validated, never being validated. And there's chaos in the family because there's debt, right? Think about it. Consumerism works on debt. Consumerism works on our misery, right? Because the more debt we have, the more misery we have in our life, society can work, right? This is how we get credit cards, we get to work, the family dynamic breaks down because everybody's busy living out their programming, and the society teaches us to have attachments and desires. Where are all these societal standards coming, these standards coming from? Society, right? Society. So then the kids are in the background, again, not being validated, not being seen, because the parents are in this robotic state, living out their programming. And why? Because they were never validated by their parents, and the cycle goes back and back and back. Okay, so now let's get back to why we're stuck in this constant state of negativity. We can't relax, we can't just be. Okay, what's going on? All right, so these children in these families were basically taught to not feel because they didn't want to add to the chaos that was already in the family. They were taught not to feel. So they were always in a constant state of survival. Constant state of survival. Dad might have been becoming numb through substance abuse or whatnot because he couldn't live out. He's not able to attain his standard that society has for him, set for him. The mother may be in a robotic state, taking care of the family or whatnot to attain her societal standard, right? So again, everyone's just being is basically programmed. And these children basically they don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. And no one talks about the issues, and no one talks about the problems, and family life is continued that way. Okay? So these children I just want you to picture this. This child is in a constant state of stress mode, right? Because at a very young age, this is all they see. A lot of dysfunction in the house. A lot of dysfunction in the house because everyone is just too busy and there's so much dysfunction. So what happens? Okay, so now think about it. If you're in a constant state of anxiety, particularly as a child, right? Think about this. Your stress response is activated, right? Your stress response is activated. So what happens is how stress is dealt with long term and short term. Now let's talk about the brain and how that works, okay? So you have the brain. If this is stress that's long term on a constant basis, you have the hypothalamus in your brain that's activated. Afterwards, it triggers the pituitary gland. that secretes ACTH. After that, it triggers the adrenal gland, and which is the gland right on top of the liver. The kidney. And that produces a stress hormone, cortisol, which starts regulating the body. Okay? So that's what happens. Just look at the process of what happens with long-term stress. Okay? Now, there's the short term. In the short-term stress, the hypothalamus is activated, and that triggers the adrenal medulla, which secretes adrenaline. And what ends up happening is basically the body gets into fight and flight mode. Okay? And that's the constant state of these children. This is why they're always in this state of survival, this state of anxiety. Now, just think about it this way logically. If this child is in this state at such a young age, imagine this child is at adolescence, and this child at young adulthood and adulthood. So now they're an adult, and they just can't relax. They can't just be. They just can't be. They just can't be. And then they just, and as adults, you wonder why. You always create this life for yourself where you're always attracting negativity. Because it seems like your brain is just trained to be in this fight and flight mode at all times. Because of the chaos in your childhood. Because of the chaos, the old wounds that are stuck within you, which you never processed. It's within you. It's stuck there. So you have so many blessings right in front of you, but you don't understand why you can't just enjoy it. Why you can't see the beautiful family you have or the beautiful life you have, right? So you basically, what happens to these individuals from these childhood dynamics? So we understand the brain part aspect. Now, what happens as adults, these individuals are in the constant state of anxiety, unrest, reactivity. There's always something wrong. For some reason, they always find something wrong in their life. They obsess over something. They create stories like, oh, what if he's doing this? What if she's doing that? Oh my goodness. They can't be present and just enjoy life. Can't relax. Maybe for a little bit, but that's not their residual state. They have obsessive thoughts. They ruminate over what ifs, negativity. They create tension, obsess over little things, get upset over nothing sometimes, and basically there's a block. They can't see their blessing. There's this block because of all the old wounds and the way the brain has been trained at such a young age with this stress level, right? Where the stress response is activated. And it's in fight and flight mode at all times. So it just kind of creates that dynamic, even when everything is fine. Or just little triggers occur and it just goes haywire. So now, how do we help these individuals? How do we help these individuals? Okay, so let's think about it. Number one, you have to process what happened to you at a very young age. You have to process first identify the type of programming that has occurred by your society, by your culture, and by your upbringing. Just identify what kind of programming has occurred. What kind of attachments were you taught to have? What kind of extreme desires were you taught to have? What kind of cravings? What kind of ideological thinking was injected in you? What kind of movies did you watch at a young age? What kind of movies were playing in the background? The music of your generation when you were growing up? What was it injecting in you? And then step 2 is to start honoring your inner child. Connect with that person, that little child again. Go back and connect with that, empathize with that. Have empathy for your inner child. Like, oh man, that was tough. That was really tough that happened to you. You know what? That was sad that, you had such a chaotic life. Just remember it, go back, process that whole thing, and understand that it wasn't your fault. Understand that it wasn't your fault. Understand that. And after you do that, after you identify your programming and all the attachments and desires that come under that umbrella, empathize with that inner child. Afterwards, third step, try to think about just, and then go further with your empathy with yourself and say, huh, no wonder, no wonder I I was bulimic. Or no wonder I just give my money away. No wonder I don't know how I feel. No wonder I'm always trying to fix everybody. Man, no wonder I feel like I'm not enough. No wonder I'm afraid to go and live out and be the beautiful soul I am. No wonder. So just start first, again, like I said, identify the programming, understand how the brain works, have empathy for that inner child that you were, and the chaos. Have empathy for the chaos in your that occurred in your life, and then have empathy for the way you are now. Have empathy for the way you are now. Observe yourself and let it pass. Start healing. Start healing. Start taking those little band-aids off. Start really healing. Because if you've come from these types of families where they were so programmed in such a robotic state, you probably just basically, because you were in such a state of survival, you just put little band-aids into every single area of your life, like, oh, oh, just so you can survive. That was a defense mechanism. Now you need to just start healing by taking those band-aids off one by one, going through those cabinets, right, of this stage of your life, that stage of your life, this stage of your life, and empathizing, understanding how you've been programmed, letting it pass, and connecting to the way you are now. And that will help you. I really, really hope this has helped you. I really, really hope that you start healing and there's more light and love in this world because of your healing. And then once you start healing, you can start creating healthy dynamics within your new generation and your new family with your children, and it can be passed down to their children, and we can have a beautiful world. So lots of love to you, to your family, and to healing. Okay? Take care. Bye.